that again.
Wow. All right. God, I'm so tired. So are you going to help her during the day, you think?
Yeah. Or like, I don't know. I'm not really sure yet. Hold on a second. Let me get this. What the heck is going on? Okay. Okay, good. Welcome to Drawing Nature In. We will be speaking about correspondence and doing some art today. So we're going to go ahead and start out with the meditation here. Just stop sharing the screen.
Do you want to do it, or do you want me to do it?
It's up to you. I'm fine either way.
Well, I can do it.
Sounds good.
So just sit quietly and just take some breaths in and out. Just try to come into the present moment. And if you want, you can put your hand on your heart to try to start to connect your heart to your mind. We're just going to sit quietly for a few minutes, breathing and coming into the present moment.
Thoughts of compassion and love can help go into the heart as well. Really feeling that emotion is really key in this.
So I'm just going to ask the universe to surround us with love and light, and to help us to learn some things that we can use to help other people and other creatures on Earth, and to direct us to have a new experience with making art and having a great communication. And so it is.
So it is. gonna go
So, huh?
start by just reading. I'm gonna try to pull up our little. Joanna and I put together a natural laws of oil painting book that we related the these laws we're talking about, the Hermetic principles, to art and painting. Let me just pull that up if I can find it real fast here. But yeah, correspondence, it's like the law where all things correspond. It's the one, the as above, so below kind of thing. It's,
So as above, are you going to read it or?
yeah, I just got it pulled up. So as above, so below. As below, so above. In painting, the forms that create a picture are an interplay of dark and lights. The edge of one form gives way to the edge of its counter form. Darks and lights. As is dark, so is light. As is light, so is dark. Therefore, dark gives form to light, and lights give form to dark. Negative space is a shape just as positive shapes is a shape. When you paint the negative shapes, you create the positive ones and vice versa. All parts correspond. That which is within emotions, feeling, ideas correspond to that which is without. Painting, drawing, sculpture, song, animation, abstraction, realism, surrealism, painting from life, the landscape, figure, still life. The subject matter is witnessed by the artist. Consciousness observes consciousness. It is changed and it is reflected back into the canvas as the painting. Thus, the painting corresponds to the subject matter. So that is our little art. Here I can share my screen too and kind of just show that we have some imageries that we made for the book too. So me and Joanna both have a little piece of artwork in there.
So like
you can see that the moonscape here with the moon reflected in the light. That's kind of showing how that correspondence were, and then there's another reflection of the tree. But this can also be seen in a tree where like the roots go underground are about the same size as the tree above ground, and they fan out in a similar pattern as well. So
right.
the roots below correspond to the tree above. So that's my little spiel for now. Joanna can add in anything she likes, and we can discuss this and stuff, and dig a little deeper into other examples that we see not only in nature but in just society and stuff that are where we can see the law of correspondence in action.
So yeah, so the law of correspondence is most useful to me in seeing how people, like knowing what's going on in other, how do I explain this? By observing how I am interacting with my friends and my family members, I can see how other people or other situations are. It's like a fractal universe. So it's so hard to explain for some reason, but so that, you know, all I have to do really is understand how difficulties that I might be having, to understand other people and have compassion for them or be able to help them. And that's the law of correspondence in psychology or whatever, sociology. Today, for example, I was at a farm volunteering, and there's a big, huge pig, male pig, and his wife, a smaller pig, in the farm. And the smaller female pig has a really badly injured leg. And my friend and I tried to use energy healing to heal the pig's leg, but it didn't really do much good. And then we were observing the pig today, and we saw that the male pig is injuring the female pig, like, because he wants more food. And we were observing this, and we were thinking about what we could do for this poor pig, you know. And then it occurred to me that it's really the farmer and his wife. Like, it's a reflection of the farmer and his wife's relationship, if you can believe that. So that's the law of correspondence, you know, as above, so below, as within, so without. Like what the external is going to reflect me back to myself, so that I can see what's going on with myself, so I can try to make changes, if that makes sense. So my friend and I realized that there's not a whole lot we can do. We're going to try to actually send healing energy to the farmer and his wife, if that makes sense. Maybe that sounds totally crazy, but to us today, it made so much sense. We figured it all out, we thought. But that's kind of how I use it. I kind of use the law
That
of
can happen
correspondence.
too. Like I've heard of actual, and that's a good example of this, where like there'll be like a pet owner, and their dog will be like scratching its ear a lot, and then the human will also have something like a bother in their ear, and you know, so they're like, so then when the human gets the dog's ear healed, that they realize that they need to heal their ear too. And I didn't do a very good job of articulating that story, but I read about a situation where people, pet owners sometimes have the similar ailments as their pet. Like I think the story I actually read was talking about, one of them was talking about their dog had like their dog was sick and was having trouble, and the person was kind of sick too and just not like 100%, and they took the dog in and they found like a cancer tumor in the dog's abdomen, I think. And then they removed it, I think, or whatever. And then the human was having problems with their abdomen, and they went in and got checked, and they also had a cancer tumor that they had removed. So that's kind of like corresponding.
That's the law of correspondence. That's exactly
uh,
right. So if there's something wrong with something in
it
my
doesn't always
environment.
happen,
Huh?
but I said that doesn't always happen with like, oh, if your pet gets sick, you're going to have the same sickness. Those are kind of rare situations, but there are, it does happen.
Well, but I mean, like, you can, if there's something going on in your environment, it's probably reflecting you. Like, you know, my environment is very messy. I live in a very messy environment. I'm messy. I'm not organized. And what that tells me is that my mind is like that. It hasn't changed a whole lot, even though I meditate. It hasn't really changed much. But if I want to change my external environment, I probably better change my internal. That's where I got to
True.
focus.
Yeah, no, for
So
sure.
that's the law of correspondence. And it just helps me like to try to understand other situations that normally would be way out of my understanding, like how a company works or something like that. All I have to really do is observe how a family works to understand how a company works. Kind of. That's like a good way to use the law of correspondence. But that's kind of using it in a psychological way. I mean, in nature, you see it all constantly, like in reflections and stuff like that. But it is a law of living on Earth. So
Yeah, it's like you can look at it from like the perspective of like human suffering too. Like the rich they suffer differently than the poor, but because one suffers, all suffer. So that means that even that it may not be the same thing that they're suffering, or that they might not have the same challenges or whatever, but if there's one that suffers, then all suffer to a certain extent.
right, that's
And
true.
the same thing works for like joy. If everyone's in health and happiness, then it corresponds. And part of that is too is like, it's like that saying, like one bad apple will ruin the bunch. That's the law of that is a saying that's talking about the law of correspondence.
How's that?
How's that?
Yeah, how's that? How do you get that?
Because the bad apple, they all correspond, as above, so below. So all the apples, if there's one bad apple, it can ruin the bunch of apples.
But I never have understood that. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that the good apples don't just make the bad apple good?
I don't know. I mean, well, I in humans that can happen. Like we can take a bad person and through different types of training and stuff, we can turn them into a good person.
But I mean, if that is the law of correspondence, how come if there's like a bunch, it's like there's 5 good apples and one bad apple ruins all the good apples? Why isn't it the opposite? Because there's more good apple energy. Or is it because it's off the tree and sinking into entropy?
Probably because it's off the tree and it's sinking into entropy. But as far as, I think it's more of just like a metaphor than anything else. It's like,
Well, but
if you
it's
have
actually
one,
true. It is
well, yeah, it
actually
is
true.
But I mean,
It's
like,
true. This is just something
they're
I've
talking
always
about
wondered.
it's a metaphor for human behavior, too. Because like
I know.
if you have one bad person, like that causes harm to others, then that produces fear in the other people. And then some of the weaker of the other people are like, well, we're not sure we can protect ourselves from this bad person. So they're like, so then they want to have some sort of authority system in place to, punish these bad people.
Well, but I mean, like, actually, like, it's even easier than that. Like Kurt told me when he was a foreman in construction, if somebody came to work with a bad attitude, he would tell them that they had to change their attitude or go home, because he knew that soon everybody in the whole crew would have a bad attitude.
Right.
Which is
Yeah.
probably
No,
the law of correspondence too. But
for
I just
sure.
think it's so interesting that it's so much easier to have a bad attitude than it is to have a good attitude. You know what I mean? It's just so weird to me that I don't
I don't
understand
know
that.
if it is easier. I think it's just, in some ways, I feel like societally, with the competition in schools and different stuff like that, it's kind of like, we tend to see the dark side of things maybe more. I don't know.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe
It could be partly the media and the television, like news is always reporting bad stuff. Like they report like 8 bad things and you're so depressed, by watching it by the end. And then like at the end, they have like 1 or 2 stories like horse falls into the, like a frozen lake, but we saved it, or like little girl starts a GoFundMe and raises $2 million for the American, for like cancer survivors or something like that, and you're like, oh, well, great. Finally, I'm glad you guys ended with something positive.
Right. That's true. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's societal. I don't know, but it is true. Like I've definitely seen where I have a bag of apples and one of them is slightly rotting, and then suddenly the next day they've all got the bad. So it's weird. It's just a weird thing. I mean, you just happen to pick something that is something but it's also true. It's also true in with people, because like if there's a group of people, right, and somebody has some good gossip, right?
Yeah.
Hold on, somebody's calling me.
Yep. Yeah, someone's got some good gossip.
then it's pretty hard, like, to not get into that. It's pretty.
Sure.
I would have to take I would have to use willful action to not get into that gossip thing.
Yeah, willful mindfulness,
Yeah, really. Yeah, because I want to know, even though I know it's bad, I know it's going to be bad for me. I still want to know, but it's like, is that the law? That's the law of correspondence somehow, I think, because as above, as within, so without. Why? What's just so weird though? Maybe it is because of not processing the shadow or something. It's not like very popular in our culture to process our shadow work. It's more important. It's like more culturally acceptable to go shopping to cover it up or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think, Annie?
I think this topic is really cool. I've never really talked about the law of correspondence before. And I think it's interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, another way you could look at it with the between the rich and the poor, like the two opposites, you could say, like rich versus poor, is they both have suffering, but they also both have great joy sometimes. Like the poorest person, their joy may just be like the fact that they have something to eat, or the fact that they have a family that is supportive and loving around them. They may not have much, but they have that supportive family. Whereas the rich person's joys might look a little different. Their joy might be, I have the biggest boat in the harbor, so I can show it off or whatever. I don't know how that works because I'm not rich, but there's also the good. The good also corresponds through everything as well. So.
Oh, you're saying the good corresponds?
Definitely.
I have to think about that for a minute. I'm sure that's true, but I mean, yeah, I have to work pretty hard at seeing the positive. What's all that stuff? Are those beads?
I'm making a little cork bottle.
Okay.
What I do sometimes, and it's fun. I'm making this one water or beach themed.
Oh, neat.
Like blue and seashells.
That's cool.
Right. That looks fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
So Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. See, this is the point. I didn't know what to do with this thing. And I knew that if I just started sitting down with you guys and talking about law of correspondence, I would let my creative side just do whatever it wanted to do. And so that's good
Yeah.
because
Good.
As soon as I heard you guys started talking, I'm just like, okay, well, beads and cork bottle. That's what I want to do right now.
oh, that's cool.
Have to change your mind too later, and you want to like go print some stuff to do with your drawing you're talking about. That's fine too.
Well, I had to like put my screen on the Zoom to do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can't print.
Well, if you need to, if you do decide to do that, you need to sign out for a few minutes to print some stuff. You know, I signed back in. We're not going anywhere for
3 hours.
2.5 more hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be here for 2.5 more hours. So if we need to pop out and get some reference material, that's fine.
Well, I'm almost finished with this, so I might actually want to keep doing this because
If you want to, that's great too. We're not forcing you to do anything. This is free form. Do whatever you want.
yeah, I really, I think this, I like this so far.
Okay. So
And me and Joanna are both artists, and if you ever have any like questions and stuff, or if you want to learn some different techniques or different mediums, we'd be happy to help you out with that. We do have some courses and stuff for people like that we can do over Zoom and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to decide what color I want to put next on this circle art / geometry representation I have that I'm working on here.
It's always a hard choice.
Right?
Well, what is that? What does that section mean? What is that?
It's the art, like art and geometry portion of the quadrivium.
Oh. Yeah.
So I think I got it figured out now, so I'm not too worried about it. Because I got like these circles, and they're gonna kind of be, dark and then light, and contrasting like the correspondence with the, the negative corresponding to the positive. I want a dark color for my next thing that I'm painting because I'm gonna do dark.
Whew. Yeah.
Some high contrast, shapes.
Yep. I guess Jeff must have forgotten about us. Let me just look and see, because I sent him the.
Oh yeah, you sent. We have our friend Jeff Modine comes on here a lot, and he owns a art gallery in Pueblo called
Colorado.
Blowback. Yeah, Pueblo, Colorado. It's called Blowback Gallery, and Joanna and I and some other people are going to be participating in a Truth art show there in July.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so the paintings, the art that Joanna and I are both working on tonight will be part of that art show.
What's that girl's
In
name?
July, if you find yourself in Colorado, not within an hour from Pueblo, we'd love to, or Jeff Modine would love to have you guys pop by.
Well, Colorado is pretty far from here.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said if you happen to be there, which you probably won't be.
Actually, it's funny. My dad's friend who sees us a lot, her parents live in Colorado, and we actually Colorado a lot. So, yeah.
He was talking about doing a little virtual thing on the opening. We'll see if we can get that going, like a little live stream, so we can invite you to that if you're not, if you're interested in seeing the artwork and stuff.
Yeah, I love seeing other people do art, and it makes me happy.
That's cool. Yeah, we probably will have some kind of virtual thing going on. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I know. He
I don't know
asked
what-
me about if I could do that for him. Like, he's like, "Do you think you could do a live stream of the show?" I was like, "Yeah, probably."
Oh, that's neat. That'll be cool. That show's going to be weird. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. It's coming up quick. I'm like, dang, I need
I
to start
know it is coming up
crushing
quick. I
some
know.
artwork.
I know. I'm hoping to
A little
get
quicker
these last
here.
3 pieces done before June so I can use the entire month of June to make repairs and stuff like that.
I'm not sure. I might have to frame all these paintings I've done. I'm not
Oh,
sure. That could be
dude.
fun. But luckily, I used to work as a framer, so I know how to do all that stuff.
That's good.
For cheap, I can probably unfortunately, lumber is expensive right now, but probably still costs less than buying sticks of frame molding. Or some of the pieces I did are standard sizes that I can probably get really cheap frames at Walmart or something. But some of them might not be able to do that before. So I might have to just make my own frames out of wood and some paint.
That'd be good. That would be really nice. I bet.
Oh yeah,
Do you
I've done
have
it
a miter?
before.
Do you have a miter saw?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I have like a little miter thing and stuff. Yeah, so I can do it. It takes time, obviously.
Yeah, it just takes time. It's like that's why I wanted to leave all of June because I have a bunch of repairs like this. That other piece that I was working on ended up taking all those little things off that I made last, and that one's totally warped now. So I have to do something about it being warped. But I'm probably just gonna have it be warped, and that's the way it's gonna be. And then I have to figure out a way to hang it.
Well, we're talking, and I shouldn't show my face, but
It's up to you, sweet.
okay.
It's just art.
Yeah.
Making sure you
Love
say
you.
hi to Joanne.
Okay. My dad says hi.
Hi, back. I can
Guys,
hear him.
your dad is a super intelligent dude.
Aw. Thank you.
You know, I used to live in New York myself, a little bit further south than you, though. I lived in Woodstock. Have you ever been there?
I don't remember being there, but I've been all over the place, and I haven't remembered being there. So
It's just a little. It's about maybe 4 hours south of where you are.
Hmm.
Before
I used to I lived in Brooklyn and New York City for about 4 years. And I had most of the only places I've really been in New York other than New York City is Lake George and Ithaca.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful there. Like right now, isn't it really beautiful right now there? It's not humid.
yeah, it just turned spring. It was it was cold, but now, just now, it like yesterday or day before turned like so warm all of a sudden.
Suddenly it's warm, but it's beautiful. It's not humid yet. And it's really nice. And there's
Go
Yeah, I
into
remember the
summer.
spring being really nice out there.
I miss it a lot, honestly, but
Really, because most people don't really like it here.
they don't like it.
Well, in Syracuse.
Why? Is it a city?
Well, yes, not. It's a city, yes, but
But it's not a big city.
it's not really a city.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of it's just not too many tall buildings, right?
No.
Yeah, but it's maybe a little bit congested. But you're near Buffalo, right? Kinda?
Yeah, I actually just took a trip to Buffalo. It's like 2-3 hours away, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just took a trip to Buffalo, but a while ago I did take a trip to Buffalo.
Nice.
I've been there
But
before.
yeah, I did go up there for to Niagara Falls too. I forgot about that.
Now I'm doing a flower themed one.
Oh yeah. Oh, cool. Neat.
Oh.
So what do you do with those? Do you give them to people or something?
They're more like decoration, but yes, sometimes I gift them to people.
That's cool. Oh, I don't really like what I'm doing. Well, too bad. I'm going to keep doing it. That's the way it is. I don't get to evaluate this piece. I'm going to just do it, and that's going to be that. Period. End of story. No. No, I'm not going to think about this. So what would I say about the law of correspondence with my not liking what I'm doing? Maybe it's probably because I'm tired is why. It's probably the within is tired. So the without is like, I'm not crazy about what I'm doing, but that's just because I don't feel great right now. That's because I stayed up too late. The normal Joanna problem. What?
Staying up too.
Oh yeah, totally. I stayed up till like 1, and then I had to get up to make sure that everything went well on the computer thing situation.
Well, that's not very good.
No. So now I'm tired. Yep. And then I went to the farm and worked on the farm and observed the pig situation, which was very upsetting. But
which working on a farm isn't like relaxing, you know. It's like that's usually pretty hard work. It's not like, oh
well, yeah,
go relax at the
it
farm.
was all right. We just basically what we did was we shoveled some compost into a wheelbarrow, and then we shoveled the compost so that we tried to put compost on the blackberry bushes that were just starting to come up. So yeah, it was kind of hard work, but then I stopped working and I watched my friend work hard after that, because she's gonna stay at the farm and take care of all the animals while the farmer goes down to Mexico to get more cancer treatment. You know, basically probably eating right and stuff. I don't know what they're doing to him really, but
well, they can do stem cells down there too.
Oh, right.
And I've heard that they do that sometimes for stuff like that.
Right.
They'll put like pig stem cells in there, and it will help.
Pig, not human.
Maybe they might be able to use human ones down there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they can probably use your own. You probably can use your own stem cells down there, but they don't let us do that. We don't get to do that anymore here, because you know, whatever. I heard about that. But anyway, yeah. So it was an interesting day, but yeah, I'm kind of beat now from that. So, but I'm just trying to figure out, like, normally I don't even think about what I'm doing while I'm working, and that's why I like doing this so much, because I don't have to deal with my brain. But so that's the law of correspondence there.
Your brain showed up today, huh?
My brain is kind of here right now, probably because I'm tired, you know. Let me just see, where's that brush?
Finagle these circles a little bit. Look at me. I'm trying to draw these like circles with no like tool. I'm just like painting them by hand.
Oh, good. That's
not
great.
The smartest thing to do, probably, but
why?
They're not as perfect as they should be.
They're not as perfect as the circles that you did with the tracer thing.
Mm-hmm. That's all right. They're circles. It'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm not going to think about this. So the law of correspondence. Come on now. You need
Oh, yeah,
more
we gotta-
information. We gotta start.
Yeah, I meant to bring my book with me.
What,
but-
Kabbalion?
Yeah, like
I wonder where mine is. It's somewhere in
couldn't
this
figure
mess.
that out.
I don't know where mine. I don't think it's in this room. It might be. I might be able to get up and go find it if that would be good.
Yeah, if you want to, it couldn't hurt to read some little passages
All
from
right.
it.
I'll go look for it. I'll be right back. Now give me a second.
As above, so below. But I would say like even like the movements of like the tides like going in and out, they're corresponding to the pull of the gravity, you know, certain stuff like that are kind of fall into the correspondence law, I feel like too. Maybe I should use that. Oh. But yeah, like when you're doing art, I may have kind of mentioned this in the other, I was reading out of a book me and John compiled, is like, you know, you look at, like if you're drawing something from life, like say you have like an apple on the table that you're trying to draw, and you're looking at the apple, and then you're putting lines and shapes on the canvas or piece of paper, and those, when you're done, the painting corresponds with what you had painted. So, or even like taking the inner, like the idea from inside your head and putting it down on paper. It's like that piece of paper corresponds with your idea that you had, you know, and that's part of like manifesting new things too, is, you know, you have, for instance, like you might have idea like, oh, I want to build an addition on my house. Well, before you can build that addition, you have to have architectural drawings of how the structures are going to meet up and stuff like that. And, you know, you're going to think about that in your head, and then you're going to do the drawings, architectural drawings. And then when you build the house corresponds to the drawings. You know, because when you go to build something, you know, the materials are way more expensive than a piece of paper and some pencils that you do the drawing with. So you have to like figure out all the nuanced details in that drawing before you actually build the thing, because otherwise you might end up wasting a lot of time or money on materials that you either need or don't need. Because when you draw it all out, lay it out, you can measure things, and you can be like, oh, I need exactly 50 sheets of plywood to do this project, you know, and then so you can save money by not over buying materials. So that's another form of correspondence that I just thought of.
I was gardening on Sunday,
Okay.
It was really fun. I planted something I forgot. I helped putting up a fence for my cats. Because my cats we let them outside now, and one of our some of our fence is that was put up have these whole, like, it's a black fence, and the cats can get through it.
Oh,
So
it's no good.
yeah, and
You
they're
gotta
not.
patch it up some.
Yeah, so we're fencing it up, and right now we just have to be careful because it's not all the way done.
Right.
But I helped with that, and I planted stuff, and it felt really relaxing, and I felt better after I did it than I did before.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Like just getting outside in nature and working on stuff like that is really beneficial.
Yeah.
And you had a sense of accomplishment afterwards too, which is, corresponds with the work that you did to have that sense of accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
And just being outside in the sun, you got some good vitamin D and stuff, and I know I actually was working in the garden on Sunday too. It was Mother's Day. So I was my mom is a really big green thumb. She really likes gardening and stuff. And so she was like saying, I was asking her what she was doing for Mother's Day. She said, "Oh no, I'm just gonna be out digging in the dirt." So I'm like, "You want me to come over and help you?" So I went over there and helped her with I ran a tiller. You don't know what a tiller is? It's a machine that like basically grinds the dirt up. So it like takes the lower dirt and brings it up and kind of mixes the dirt up. It loosens it up so that you can plant your seeds into it and they'll grow better. And so, and you can also, like, if there's any weeds that had already started coming up, it like rips those up, and then you can kind of pick them out, without having to pull them and break the roots and stuff. So yeah, and I did feel very amazing after doing that work in the garden with my mom on Mother's Day.
So I couldn't find the book, but I just looked it up on the internet, sadly. That was my solution, was to look it
That
up.
works.
So, did you have something you wanted to add there?
I just agreed that it worked.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm just gonna read. This is from the Kabbalion.org. So hopefully this is from the Kabbalion, but it says the great second Hermetic principle embodies the truth that there is a harmony, agreement, and correspondence between the several planes of manifestation, life, and being. This truth is a truth because all that is included in the universe emanates from the same source, and the same laws, principles, and characteristics apply to each unit or combination of units of activity, as each manifests its own phenomena upon its own plane. So this is not the language of the Kabbalion, but it might still be good.
It kind of is. It definitely is. It's just, yeah, it sounds
Okay.
right to me.
All right.
I mean, I've read probably 3 different iterations of it, and they're worded slightly differently, but it's the same stuff basically.
All right. I didn't know they were different. Okay. For the purpose of convenience of thought and study, the Hermetic philosophy considers that the universe may be divided into 3 great classes of phenomena known as the 3 great planes, namely the great physical plane, the great mental plane, the great spiritual plane. These divisions are more or less artificial and arbitrary, for the truth is that all of all of the three divisions are but ascending degrees of the great scale of life, the lowest point of which is undifferentiated matter, and the highest point that of spirit. And moreover, the different planes shade into each other, so that no hard and fast division may be made between the higher phenomena of the physical and the lower of the mental, or between the higher of the mental and the lower of the spiritual. In short, the three great planes may be regarded as three great groups of degrees of life manifestation, while the purpose of this little book do not allow us to enter into an extended discussion of or explanation of the subject of these three different planes. Still, we think it well to give a general description of the same at this point. Well, where's the freaking...
So I was just talking about that for a second right before you left. I was talking about how, like, when you build an addition on a house, that you're going to come up with architectural drawings first. And those drawings are coming from the mental plane into the physical plane, because you're thinking about, okay, here's the house. This is where I want to pop the roof off and make it taller. So then you're going to draw all that stuff out. You're going to think about it in the mental plane, draw it onto paper, and that's going to be the one step towards manifesting the addition. And then once you have it drawn out, you've figured out all the problems that, of how I'm going to attach this to that, or, how much materials I need, all that stuff. And then, when you build it, the final addition built onto the home corresponds with what you envisioned in your mind on the mental plane.
Okay. That's pretty amazing. Interesting use of.
And stuff like that. There can be healing experiences too, like, because when you go into a lucid dream state, you're in non-physical reality, which maybe could even be pictured as spiritual plane, or maybe even like a sub layer of the spiritual plane. And people have gotten lucid. Lucid dreaming is a technique where you realize that you're dreaming within the dream. And when you do that, you can control your dream. Like, you can fly to Africa, or like swim in the ocean with whales and fish and stuff. You can, there's been accounts and stories of, there's one story I'll tell right now. It's there was a woman, and she had I can't remember exactly what she had, but she had some sort of chronic illness, and she went into the dream state. And when she was dreaming, in her dream, she was braiding her hair, and this lady braided her hair a lot. And so, but something about, like, in the dream, when she was braiding her hair, it wasn't like working right, and like she was getting frustrated. And so that was enough that she realized that she was dreaming. And so once she was in the dream, she actually went into meditation in her dream. She, like, got into the lotus position in her dream. She was sitting on the couch, and she started meditating. And she what she did is now that I remember it, now that I've been telling the story, she had a tumor. And within her dream, she had a tumor. It was, I think it was, I don't remember where it was, but she had a tumor, and she went inside in her dream while she was meditating. She went inside her body. She, like, looked down at her arm. She went down and zoomed into inside of her body. And she actually physically, inside the dream, removed the tumor. And then, like, a few weeks after she woke up and stuff, a few weeks later, she went in to the doctor for her, checkup or whatever. And they were checking on the tumor, because they're, getting ready to do surgery and stuff, like within the next week or two. And the tumor was gone.
Cool.
So
that's
sometimes you can fiddle with the subconscious and stuff while you're in the dream state. And that's kind of like the spiritual plane meeting with the physical plane.
right.
It's not an easy thing to do. I also heard
I
of
don't know how to do
another
that.
story of like shaman will go into a trance state or even a dream state or a lucid. One of the biggest researchers of lucid dreaming actually are shaman. And they'll find they'll have like maybe they'll have someone in their tribe or that is dealing with some sort of an ailment, and they'll go into their trance state or dream state and they'll get lucid, and they'll ask the nature, the forest, they'll ask the forest what plant will help their friend or their the person in their tribe that's having ailment, and the dream will take them exactly to that plant and show them what the plant is, and then like they'll wake up and then they'll go find that plant in the forest and brew it into a tea or whatever, grind it up or whatever into salve or whatever they need to use it for, and give it to the person and cure them of their ailment.
Yeah, that's
Which I think
interesting.
is pretty neat. Yeah, it's interesting that
Actually, you bring that up.
like that.
My friend that I was with today, and this is probably not, maybe it's the law of correspondence, but I don't know. But my friend and I, what we do before we go, what we always ask for the nature spirits to help us, and it's pretty cool what happens. I mean, we actually today we do this specific thing where we call in the overlating diva of healing, and then we call in Pan, who's the god of nature, and we call in our higher selves and Jesus, and we have a specific team for our together. We have this team of whoever they are, healers or whatever. So we call them in. And so today when we were coming home from the farm, there was a giant bald eagle flying over the car, and we got to watch
Oh, that's awesome.
him or her, whatever, who knows.
That's
Probably a male. It was probably a male, because I think the female, I'm not sure if the female has a white head or not, but it was incredible. It was incredible.
That's awesome. That's funny because I saw a bald eagle a couple days ago on the way I was either taking my daughter to school or I was taking my son to gymnastics. I can't remember which. It's basically the same drive. I have this drive. I'm drive back and forth like 6 times a day, take my daughter to school, pick her up, go home. Then there's stuff in the middle of the day where I have to go basically right by where the school is to drop my son off at gymnastics and different stuff.
And you saw bald
But yeah,
eagle?
anyways, long story short, there's a beautiful, we just went by Evergreen Lake Dam, and then there's just this, I was like, whoa, is that a bald eagle? And then it was just kind of following the road, and it was just kind of staying like right ahead of us, and we had a really good view of them for probably like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's really weird because they should
beautiful.
be gone by now. They should have left and gone to Alaska, but they seem to some of them are still here. It's weird. They migrate through here.
They aren't, it's pretty rare to see them here too. It's like I don't see them a whole lot. I've probably only like
Kurt
my
sees
whole
them
life.
all the time. Kurt sees them.
Yeah.
We actually had a bald eagle fly next to our car as we were traveling to his property at some point this winter. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Yeah, it was amazing.
They're beautiful animals.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how that's the law of correspondence, except that we have been asking for nature to help us, because my friend and I, we feel like, nature knows. And so we feel, I don't know, I think both of us just want to have as much help as we can get right now. So we have been calling in the nature spirits, and every time we do that, we have some amazing nature experience. She's an animal intuitive though, so she can hear the animals talk to her in her head. Like, so she understands what that pig's plight and everything. It's really quite amazing. I've never met anybody like her before. This girl that I've been hanging out with. She and I have been going to the farm together.
Cool.
But every Tuesday. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. But it's just neat to ask nature for help, because nature, like if you look at nature, everything in nature is free. Like they're all free. They have the inalienable right to travel and the inalienable right to assemble freely and speak freely. And there's nothing stopping them. They're doing fine.
Like when you go sit in line at the border, to get your papers checked when you're like entering, Mexico from United States, for instance. You'll be sitting there in line in your car, but then you'll be watching the birds flying across the border, no problem.
Is that your experience? Did you actually have that experience?
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. No, I've never driven across the border, so I don't know. I went into Canada from New York, but
yeah, you're sitting in your car and you're like, well, that's weird. Like, how come the bird doesn't have to show its papers?
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Well, because unfortunately we are living under this system that is not really our system. We're living under a few different systems that aren't ours, because we're really like animals, and we should be free like animals. Really, that's how
It's
I see
funny
it.
too, like if you look at nature though, and like how like there's different species that actually correspond with each other and help each other out. Like for instance, like you have a flower and then you have a bee, and the bees are helping the flowers, cross-pollinate each other and stuff like that, so they can reproduce. And yeah, technically without the bee they could still do it, because there's wind that can blow the pollens around, but that's way less efficient than the bee, because the bee is actually going in there and like collecting the pollen to bring back to the hive, and it's got pollen on its all over it, and it's sometimes it drops some in one flower and then moves to the next, so it's interesting that they're not even close to the same. They're not even in the same category of species. A plant and a insect are completely, different, yet they still correspond with each other, and that they need each other to survive to a great extent.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like we actually are talking about that because, it's bee season right now. If you want to start beekeeping, and Kurt is teaching people how to do beekeeping this year.
Does he do that?
Yeah, he's a beekeeper. He's actually giving it up because the hives are too heavy for him to lift right now with he has
his back thing.
3 herniated discs.
Oof,
so he's giving it up. Huh?
I said, ooh, poor guy.
Yeah. Construction. But but he's teaching people how to do it. And he said that this weekend here in Colorado is the weekend. This is one of the last weekends. Although he's going to teach it again in May, so at the end of May. So he said, I think if you wanted to do it, you could still get bees, but yeah, it's pretty crazy because like literally we were right by some cherry blossoms, like cherry trees or whatever. There was a whole row of cherry trees all blossoming and not one bee on the trees. So it was like, oh my God, what's happening?
We need some bees out here.
We need some bees badly. So the beekeepers really serve a great purpose to help the bees get through this rough time that we're going through, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, I think the somehow the dumb people think that they can create a drone that can pollinate, but I don't really think that that's really a
Oh,
good
like
idea.
synthetic bee pollen, like little mini like
Yes,
bee
tiny
drones
little
that fly around, little technologies.
Yes. Can you believe
Oh my
that?
God.
This is their solution is to have
Just another example of humanity trying to think they're better than nature.
but it's just not. I mean, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. But I mean, like, you're right. I mean, I think, that just shows nature. Like, I'm sure that I don't know how it happened, but
I don't think it would be near as efficient because it's going to take a long time to build those robots, and bees like reproduce quite quickly.
oh, it's totally crazy. It's insane. It's complete insanity in my opinion, but whatever.
That's almost like correspondence too, because like the humans are like, here's this creature that distributes pollen. Let's make our own robot that distributes pollen. And it's just like a redundancy kind of like correspondence factor there.
Yeah, it's totally nuts. I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, unless it's just to control people's ability to be self-sufficient. Why it does seem like there's a war on bees right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
It does seem like people don't seem to realize how important bees are to our survival. But
there's probably something important about mosquitoes to our survival too. Who knows? The bee is more obvious,
No, there's nothing important about the mosquito. I'm kidding. I'm sure they wouldn't exist. I'm sure that they're there to feed the birds. That they feed birds. Birds eat mosquitoes, right? And bats.
Bats, yeah.
Bats eat mosquitoes. And
Bees.
what did you say?
I said bees.
Bees.
Bees eat mosquitoes.
My screen is showing a bee.
Oh, a bee! Look at that.
Oh yeah, I see it.
That's pretty cool.
Oh,
It's
that's
a bumblebee. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
bumblebees. I don't know what bumblebees are. They're a little different than honeybees, but I wonder if they have like hives
They're
and stuff.
bigger.
Hives of bumblebees. Probably not. They probably live on their own. I'm guessing, but I'd have to research that.
I bet there's hives.
Hives of bumblebees?
Could be. I don't know.
I don't know.
Or maybe they're.
I don't think they make honey.
Someday we'll get a fact checker here. So.
Well, I'll just have to look into it later. But bees, yeah. Yeah, that's a whole story.
The topic was about to get into my air themed cork bottle because I was about to put a yellow bead because it's related to like pollen and bees.
Oh, cool.
And that's
neat.
totally opposite to what I'm making.
That's interesting.
Cool.
You call it the air bottle because that's one of the in my painting at the top here right now. I only just have the fire element, but that's the like quadrivium of air, fire, water, earth.
Oh my gosh, I was just drawing this. I was just doing the same thing. I was doing this one is earth, this one is water, and this one is air, and then I was gonna do fire.
That's cool. See
That's
how
awesome.
That's what happens when we work together like this is we start to read each other's minds without knowing it, even though we're on the internet.
That's part of the law of correspondence.
How is that? Show me how that's the law of correspondence.
It's like the 100th monkey kind of thing where
yes,
like
that's
like,
true. That's very
there's
true.
some monkeys on one island and they learned how to like crack coconuts on the rock or something like that. And then these other monkeys on a completely different island within like days of the other monkeys learning that skill just picked it up. And so they're like, what the heck? And so there's this
the people said
there's this guy Rupert Sheldrake and he does a lot of great research on that. He has a theory called the morphogenic field theory, and that addresses this 100th monkey effect,
Oh,
which is also part of the law of correspondence. I feel like that morphogenetic field is part of the unseen, that maybe spiritual plane or mental plane, something like that.
oh, and is that the same thing that makes birds like all and fish all change direction at the same time?
I think so, yeah. It's similar at least.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's very cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's we may have tapped into the etheric realm while we're doing this. That's what I think. See, to me, it's a very powerful thing to do art together because of these things that we connect with each other.
For sure. Which I thought it was interesting that passage you read from that Kabbalion on the kabbalion.org or whatever talked about these three planes: the mental plane, the physical plane, and the spiritual plane.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that's another sacred trinity. You know, we were talking about a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the trivium process and the sacred trinities that are all over, all around us. Interesting that one, or actually it's not surprising, because Hermes, I'm pretty sure, is responsible for the trivium as well.
Oh yeah, right, exactly. And it's Mercury retrograde right now, and Mercury is Hermes. So, I mean, he's represented by Mercury because it's the planet of communication.
Right.
And Mercury went retrograde today.
Oh, wow.
Which is just a time. Boy, is that, for me, it's a really weird time, but it's a good time to clean out the closet, which I will be doing shortly, as soon as we have our last snowstorm, whenever that
Is it
is.
supposed to snow again?
Well, no, probably. You know how it always snows like around now.
Right.
After you like put all your winter clothes away and you plant all your flowers, we have one more.
Yeah, me and my kids planted some basil and some peas yesterday.
Oh, that's cool. What?
Basil that I planted in the garden.
Oh, wow.
Something in basil. Basil and parsley.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Basil and parsley.
Those are good things to have. I love
That'll
basil.
be delicious. Oh, I
Just
know.
like some fresh basil with some mozzarella cheese. Oh, so good.
Yes, it is so good. You're right. Well, I was going to actually read a little bit more from there.
Organic, of course.
Organic, of course.
Yes.
It says, in conclusion, we would again remind you that according to the principle of correspondence, which embodies the truth as above, so below, as below, so above, all of the 7 Hermetic principles are in full operation on all of the many planes, physical, mental, and spiritual. The principle of mental substance, of course, applies to all the planes, for all are held in the mind of the all. The principle of correspondence manifests in all, for there is a correspondence, harmony, and agreement between the several planes. The principle of vibration manifests on all planes. In fact, the very differences that go to make the planes arise from vibration, as we have explained, which I skipped a bunch. The principle of polarity manifests on each plane, the extremes of the poles being apparently opposite and contradictory. The principle of rhythm manifests on each plane, the movement of the phenomena having its ebb and flow, rise and fall, incoming and outgoing. The principle of cause and effect manifests on each plane, every effect having its cause and every cause having its effect. The principle of gender manifests on each plane, the creative energy being always manifest, and operating along the lines of its masculine and feminine aspects. As above, so below, as below, so above. This centuries-old Hermetic axiom embodies one of the great principles of universal phenomena. As we proceed with our consideration of the remaining principles, we will see even more clearly the truth of the universal nature of this great principle of correspondence. See, that didn't really help me too much, honestly, but maybe it helped you. Maybe you can see. But this, you're right. I didn't realize that there were different versions of the Kabbalion.
Well, it's like they're really like a lot of the versions too, like when you look at it, it's like they're like a lot of people are like, there's not like, we're not claiming to be the author of this. This is just like, and there's an original version, I can't remember what they call it, that most of the other versions are written from.
Really? I just thought there was just one version because, I mean, it was written supposedly by 3 anonymous people.
Well, there is only one version, but there's been other versions that have came out that are, it's just like a little, it's not that they're like really that much different. It's just explained a little different, or they might be using different examples. Like that one you just read is using the example of, the correspondence between the spiritual, the mental, and the physical. Whereas some of them go in way more in depth, and there'll be like a whole chapter about correspondence, which is multiple pages, and they go into many more examples of like,
right. I'm gonna find that, but I just, I mean, that's what I'm looking for. But I mean,
like
I just didn't realize that they.
And then some of them will talk about like, oh, science, if science hasn't found this yet, it will find it in the future. And the studied hermeticist will chuckle when it's found, because they already knew that was part of, one of the laws of correspondence, or whichever law it's part of, And here's a scientific example of the law of correspondence. When they took that photon and they broke it in half, and then they had it like one was 17 miles on one side, and then the other half was 17 miles away, and they did something to one photon, and the same thing happened instantaneously to the other photon.
What?
The original photons were one photon, and they broke them in half, and then when they changed something about one, the other one instantaneously with no delay changed.
Wow.
And they're saying it wouldn't matter if it was on the moon, one half was on the moon and the one half was on planet Earth. When the change would mean, they'd still instantaneously correspond with each other and change.
That's pretty interesting.
And that experiment, I'm pretty sure it was done at CERN, which they don't always do good things there, but sometimes they do.
I'm going to try to find more about I actually went to the sacred texts place because I know that I can get some good. But it's the same. It looks like it's the same.
Yeah, they're all pretty much the same. They did, but I know I've got like, because I had one version of the Kabbalion that I read, and it was like pretty short, like book. It was only like 40 or 50 pages or something. And then I had another one that I found, and it was like 60 pages long or something. It's like a lot longer, And so they just went in depth, I think, a little more.
All right, I'm going to read. I think I found something good here. I'm going to try this. As above, so below, as below, so above, the Kabbalion. This principle embodies the truth that there is always a correspondence between the laws and phenomena. Did I read this already? Of the beginning of the did I read this already?
Sounds slightly different.
The old Hermetic axiom ran in these words: as above, so below, as below, so above. And the grasping of this principle gives one the means of solving many a dark paradox. This is what I wanted. The hidden secret of nature. There are planes beyond our knowing, but when we apply the principle of correspondence to them, we are able to understand much that would otherwise be unknowable to us. The principle is of universal application and manifestation. On the various planes of the material, mental, and spiritual universe, it is an universal law. The ancient Hermeticists considered this principle as one of the most important mental instruments by which man was able to pry aside the obstacles which hid from view the unknown. Its use even tore aside the veil of Isis to the extent that a glimpse of the face of the goddess might be caught. Just as a knowledge of the principles of geometry enables man to measure distant suns and their movements while seated in his observatory, so knowledge of the principle of correspondence enables man to reason intelligently from the known to the unknown. Studying the monad, he understands the archangel. That is what I wanted to read. So that is that, and that's all that they because now they're going to go on to the principle of vibration. But I thought that was pretty important, because I cannot understand so for example, let's say in nature or in man's world, we have organizations, for example, and organizations are created by taking over other, like by expanding from without, by sucking up into itself smaller things that can't defend themselves or whatever. That's man's way of doing it. But in nature, how nature creates is an organism in which each cell replicates itself to create the next cell. And that is much more powerful than the organization way, because in an organization, the cells, let's say, or whatever, are still loyal to their original source, whereas in an organism, or with like a nucleus or whatever, each new member was created by the cell before it being duplicated. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's how nature, like if you choose to create a group of people, let's say, by copying nature in under the law of correspondence, then you would replicate yourself by showing someone else what you know or whatever, and that would create a strong organism, rather than just like how we
A
do it.
strong organization.
Conquer other smaller and force them using using violence to force them to conform. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Right.
to me, that is a way to use the law of correspondence to understand, by looking at a plant, how a plant or like a how cells grow is by replicating themselves. And so that would be a better way to create a strong organization that would actually last and would actually be purposeful. I hope that helps.
Another thing that's interesting about correspondence, and you're talking about cells, and when we talk about the idea of as above, so below, well, in our body, we have like organs, like the heart, the liver, all these different things, right? Well, every single cell has all the same organs too. They have, they call them, I think they call them organelles.
What?
And so that, yeah. And so each cell has its own set of little organs in it, and so that corresponds to the body, which has its own set of organs.
Really?
And
So each cell
well,
has
it's
a
like-
heart?
I'm not sure if it actually has a heart, but I don't know exactly what organs they have, but they have organs.
I was picking up a bunch of the beads, and since I'm doing a fire one, I picked up a bunch of red beads or brownish red beads, and I accidentally caught a blue one in my hand, and I poured them all in, and the blue one stuck to my hand because it was a mistake.
Oh, cool. Check that out.
That's pretty neat.
That's neat.
Also, one time when I wrote something wrong, my vision somehow like put it in a different color. I forgot which color it was, but it was like it literally my vision outlined that thing I did wrong in a different color, so that I could.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, I've heard of that before. I've heard other people say stuff like that before. Where I used to work in finance for a little bit, and this a friend of mine that was in the company, he said he would see if he saw mistakes in mathematical things. He said he saw numbers in different colors, and like if there's something wrong with the math, that he could tell by the color. I don't know.
What?
When I see numbers on a piece of paper, I just see black and white. But somehow he like would see color, and he could really quickly like see like problems that are in something mathematical. It's pretty interesting.
It's kind of like, when you look at a light and then you look somewhere else, or you close your eyes, you see like a different color.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And that's an optical illusion, actually.
Well,
Have you ever
some
seen
people
the-
have the ability to see different spectrums of light than other people too. And
Oh.
that might be part of what's going on there.
Sadly, it only happened to me once, and that one time I already knew I did a mistake. But still
And
happened.
it might not even be it might just be a perception thing that the person has, that like their mind like highlights things. But there are people that see like other people's auras, and they'll be like, oh, this person has a good aura because like they can it's like a purple color or something like that. So,
My
they might
friend
see
that
someone
I'm
with a
hanging
red
out with-
aura, and they're like, oh yeah, be careful for this person, they're way down in the red.
That girl that I'm hanging out with, she can see stuff like that. She saw some weird stuff today, actually. She saw when we were meditating, when we were opening up the prayer to get the nature spirits to come in. She saw yellow dots at some point.
Hmm.
I don't know. She's like a very intuitive person. So I don't actually see much of anything. I have one thing that I see sometimes, but I just mostly know that something is, and she actually sees stuff, which I'm kind of jealous, but oh well, we all have our gifts. I got kind of jealous, but I'm like, oh well, I want to be able to do that, but too bad.
Like
I
there was
hope
this
I
like
can-
blind. I heard this story about this blind woman, but she could see, but she was seeing through remote viewing.
Oh,
What?
I've heard about remote viewing.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
cool.
she was blind, like physically, like if you put something in front of her face, she couldn't see it through her eyes, but she could see it in her mind's eye.
Oh
through
wow,
remote viewing.
wow.
And she said she had this story like that she was talking about, like in her mind, and she could see the future, she could see the past, like she could look at you and she could tell you how you were gonna die.
No.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I don't want to know that either, but I mean, like this is like And she said she had in her mind's eye, she had circles that I think she said there was either 12 or 13 circles. And each circle was a different thing that she was remote viewing or looking at. Like there's one circle for looking into the future, one circle for, it's an interesting story. For just seeing like things that so she can walk through, since she was blind, like she could see her surroundings through one circle.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
So how do you know about remote viewing, Annie?
My dad told me about it, and he told me all these videos, and I heard a lot of people talk about it. And I would like to see one of the videos about remote viewing.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's not something that I know how to do either. This is way beyond my. I have my own gifts, but
I've seen some research too where you can actually do remote viewing or out of body kind of like viewing within the dream state, like with like getting lucid in your dream, and you can go, go out of body and go check things out and stuff.
What was your question?
About, spiritual healing and like if I'm hurt, let's say my hand hurts, I do this and like shake it off.
Show me.
So
And like massage it out.
actually I'm not even touching the skin, and I just like shake it to like get that stuff out. And I was doing this, my dad's back hurted, and I was massaging it, and then I did that, and he said he felt cool air, and he asked me if I was blowing on it, and I'm like, no, I'm not blowing on it.
Huh.
I'm doing the hand thingy. And I felt heat. I felt heat, and he felt wind.
Interesting.
Like sucking it out.
Well, you might have a gift. You might have a laying on of hands gift, Did you ever hear about that?
Well, actually, you can try it, because all the people I know who have tried it know, well, that's just my family, but I know that it works, because it works with them.
Yep.
Um,
That's what I did for the pig today, because when the pig, the male pig stomped on the female pig's leg again, and it was really nasty. I just stood there and held my hand up and sent energy into the female pig. But
and
I couldn't touch her.
It's also about sucking it out.
Oh, sucking it out. Interesting. No, I don't know about that. Sucking out the negative thing.
So like when you put your hand above that, you're taking it into this hand, and then by shaking it off, you're shaking all of it off.
Oh, good. That's a good idea. I'll try that. I haven't tried that. I just felt like for me, it feels like the energy is coming through me to the person or the animal that needs the energy. And
well, everybody's different. For me, it's but if you have like a really hurt leg or something, or it's been irritating you for a while, it's gonna feel better, but it's probably gonna take some time to like fully heal it with that method, because it's it's kind of time consuming if you're very hurt.
That's part of the kind of like the law of polarity too, that we'll probably talk about here in the next few weeks. And it's that's like in the Hermetic teachings, they talk about a concept called transmutation. And you know, when you're in polarity, like, so a polarity of pain would be like either having extreme pain or no pain. And there's all the different levels of pain in between. And so, like you're talking about an extreme level of pain, or it's going to take longer using that method to heal that pain because you're further, you know, the polarity is, there's a bigger gap in the polarity from the having lots of pain versus no pain. And so that's probably the reason it takes longer to, you know, transmute that pain into non-pain, you know.
Yeah, I totally understand it. Like,
I have had experiences though where if I have true faith that something can be done right now, I've seen it get done right now. And the only problem is if I think suddenly that it can't be done, then it goes back. If
Right.
that makes sense. Like I laid my hands on this dog that was having like an epileptic fit, and it stopped right away. And then I had a doubt, and it started back
Yes.
up again. So that to me, that was about me not holding to my thought that everything was done, you know, that I allowed myself to think that it couldn't possibly be done,
yes.
made it go back. So I don't know.
I know what you mean. Sometimes it is instant. And I think part of that is that how that belief aspect of the mental, you know, because mentalism, if you believe it in your mind, then it's going to translate, you know, it can translate into reality.
Yep. Yeah, that's so I think that's
Depending,
like,
I mean, there's certain conditions and stuff, obviously, but like, yeah, in some of those situations, it's like all of a sudden you had that bad thought and it went back. It's like,
yep.
uh,
Yep. I know. I mean, it was like
corresponding. That's correspondence. It's corresponding to that thought. You're initially doing the intent of healing, but then you second guessed yourself, and that second guessing corresponded with the technique.
Oh yeah, you're right. Wow, see, the law of correspondence is in everything, which I knew. I mean,
yeah,
I know it's in everything, but yeah. I'm so
tired.
Yeah, but let's see if I'm tired enough to actually go to sleep early. Let's try that. See how tired she really is when it comes to actually going to bed early.
I have this weird thing too, like, it's like I'll be tired all day until it's time to go to bed, and I'm like wide awake. Does that ever happen to you?
Always. That's exactly what I'm talking about right now. I'm tired all day, and then when it comes to actually going to bed, I'm going to get my second wind, and I'm going to be awake, probably. I'm guessing, but that's just what seems to be happening.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot.
I think I'm gonna have to say goodnight.
Well, that was fun. It was nice having you. We'd love to have you back.
It was a pleasure having you.
I'm gonna try to do this next Tuesday.
Great.
We'd love to have you.
Bye.
I'm sure it's late there. Bye.
Bye. Have a good night. Enjoy.
Oh, she's gone. Okay, that was cool.
That was awesome. What a sweet young lady.
Yeah, amazing. He's been talking about her coming on for a while, so I'm glad she finally came on.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Good to have a young perspective on some of that stuff too.
Yep. Yeah, it was good. I liked it. I liked having her on there. That was neat.
That was a happy surprise for today.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know where Chris and Leslie are, but you
Whenever.
never know. You just never know
I don't
when.
expect people to come every week, you know. I mean,
I do. I expect people to come every week. No, it's true. I do. But
I wish they would.
yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's cool. I mean, so many weird, cool experiences happening.
I thought it was neat that she thought to do the earth, air,
Yeah, that was
fire,
crazy. The same as
wind
you.
kind of esoteric, you know,
Yeah.
quadrivium, or, you know, I know I get that's a lot. That's pretty well used. Most people don't know really what it is, though. They're just like, oh, it's the four elements, you know.
Well, yes. Who knows what Andy tells her, though? You know, I mean, he told her about remote viewing. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You know. I mean,
Well, I tell
he was originally he was going after Passio when he met Leah, so he's kind of into Passio, except
what do you
for
mean he was
Passio's
going after
craziness.
him?
Well, he was trying to get him to speak at this conference or something like that was happening in Philadelphia. He was going to speak, and he wanted Passio to be there or something to speak or something. He wanted to get connected to Passio, and then he got connected to Leah, and then Leah basically sold him that she could make his business take off or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's into Passio.
Nice.
I mean, as much as
Well, I feel like
you can.
Passio, he's dove into that germ theory fallacy stuff, right? Quite a bit.
Has he?
If I remember correctly.
I don't know.
I feel like he has like a whole presentation on germ theory.
What?
Yeah.
Really? What's it?
I'm
what's
pretty
it
sure.
Called what?
I think it's just called like something about germ theory and like.
Really? I don't remember him saying.
I can't remember. I don't remember exactly.
I don't remember that. I mean, I think he, when it came to the big C bullshit, I think I remember him saying there's definitely something going on, but we know that it's not.
Well, this was like the presentation I'm thinking of, he did like years before COVID even happened, you know.
Oh, really? I don't.
Yeah, it was like
that.
it's like an older presentation.
Oh, I don't remember this at all.
Maybe I'm confusing it with the vegetarian veganism stuff. I'm not sure. I'd have to look back into it.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, they are all. And actually, Andy I heard he met Jonathan at some kind of Hermetic conference. Like they're into and it was at Omega Institute in Rhinebeck that they all met.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever been to Omega in Rhinebeck, but it's kind of like a woo-woo school. It's I mean, I'm sure it's completely like totally trashed now, but it used to be kind of a place where all the New Age healer people would go to give their classes and stuff.
Okay.
And so apparently they were all studying this with this one Hermetic guy whose name I don't know right now. I wrote it down somewhere, but yeah, so he's all into that stuff too. Yep. So who knows what she knows at this point.
Well, that's how I actually discovered Passio. I was looking into more Hermetic stuff, and he came up as a person that talks about it.
Oh,
his
really?
Natural law, his natural law seminar came up because he goes through all the Hermetic principles and that.
Oh, right.
And that
that's how you found Passio? Just was randomly like that, searching? That's amazing.
Well, it's funny too, because my boss that I was working for at the time, we both found them simultaneously, because he was like, oh, you should check this guy out, Mark Passio. He has good stuff. And I'm like, no, I just stumbled upon him like a few days ago.
Yeah, you know what? How I found him was that I sold a painting to this girl in Boulder or Longmont who told me when I went to deliver the painting, she took me out to lunch and she said, "You have to listen to Mark Passio." That's how I found him.
Oh, nice.
It's weird. But then those people
Well, but that's what my boss said. He's like, you got to listen to this guy, Mark Passio. And I'm like, oh, I just stumbled upon his research the other day.
Yeah, I
And then
never
the same
stumbled.
thing happened. Like a week later, my boss is like, oh, you need to go check out this guy, Manly P. Hall. And I was like, oh yeah, I just found him like a few days ago, and I've been listening to his lectures on YouTube too.
That's weird. Yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't find anything. They all jumped Passio's ship and got it in with Michael Tessarion, which I never could get into him at all. I never liked him.
Yeah, I never even heard of him.
Well, Mike Tessarion is somebody that Passio liked for a while, and had him like virtually at one of the Free Your Mind conferences.
Oh, cool.
I think he's like from Australia or something, and he studied the tarot, but then he sort of fell off the planet. I don't know what happened to that guy, really.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just was very blessed. And it's weird because, the thing about it was I was at that time I was involved with this chick in this group, and the chick was super Christian, and I knew like if I was going to explore anything, it wouldn't go over well with her because she's a super Christian, And so basically my my guides or whatever, we basically had a falling out. Me and her had this falling out, and or she had a falling out with a bunch of us. She basically totally fucked us over. And that next week I found Passio, and I knew, I was like, wow, I could never have been open to this while I was involved with that person at the extent that I was involved with her, because I couldn't have talked, because I have to talk about stuff in order to process it. That's how I am. And I never would have been able to do that with her. So it was, so the timing of everything, it was just amazing. I was like, wow, that was definitely meant to happen.
Yeah, it's weird because I wasn't like, very spiritual for a little while there, and then about in 2015, like, I don't know, maybe it was like I had my daughter or something. And then I had this other coworker that was kind of influential in the spiritual side of things. And I don't know, just something about being a dad. It's like, I wanted me to like dig deeper into like the meaning of the reality and like life and, spirit and all that stuff is interesting. But yeah, like he recommended some, because he knew I liked animation. He recommended this series of animations they're called Spirit Science. And they're pretty simple animations. And and I found out later on that this guy that did those Spirit Science videos, he basically is just like summarizes Drunvalo Melchizedek's birth, the sacred book, the sacred Flower of Life, whatever, I can't remember it's called.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
about. But and so because I watched that series of animations, and then I not that long after is when I found out about Mark Passio, because I watched the whole series of those cartoon things, and so I was like looking for more information. And then I got into Passio, and then Passio, I was really into sacred geometry too at that time. And then Passio was like, oh, if you like sacred geometry, check out Drunvalo Melchizedek. And so I did, and I bought his book, and I started reading the book, and I was like, that freaking spirit science guy just basically took this book and animated it, which is fine, because there's so much, even the order that it was in, and there's so much correlation there that I was just like, oh wow, this is where that guy got a lot of that information. And so then, I just kept digging deeper, found the Hermetic principles, and then found Passia. Yeah, it's just interesting how that all played out.
Yeah, I know. It is weird how we find this stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know if I ever would have found it on my own, honestly, because I was really nowhere near there.
And I don't know if I found it on my own, but I kind of also didn't find it on my own. It's weird how that works.
Yeah, I'm checking out that spirit science thing. What was it? It was spirit science, like sacred geometry.
They talk about sacred geometry in that series. I think there may be more of them now than there was back then. So I kind of just
So it's
lost
an
interest in it.
animation. Is it like those weird little people? Oh, I know what you're talking about. I saw that's
It's
the,
that,
oh
I think
yeah,
he
the
calls the
Drunvalo thing.
character. He calls the
I-
character Patch Man, I think, and it's just like this
Yes,
really
yes.
simple, like animated character, and it talks about like it basically just goes through those Drunvalo Melchizedek books.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's right. I remember that now. I remember
It's like
that.
this hippie like kid made those animations and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
I can't remember the guy's name that made them, but
Yeah, I watched those, and they also went through like Lemuria.
yeah. It talks about Lemuria and Atlantis and stuff like that too. Which Drunvalo talks about in his books.
Right. Oh boy, I wonder if I'll. Yeah, I am still tired. I would think I would have come out of it by now, but I haven't come out of it.
Not so lucky.
Not until like 10 o'clock when I get my second wind, and I'll be up till 2 again. Watch. But I am
Right?
starting to burn. Yeah, no, it's terrible. It's like really, really bad. But tomorrow maybe
I
not.
used to be more like that. Now I just like, it's like with my kids, they just wake me up so early. It's like I can't. I
Oh
have to
yeah,
just
that's
bed.
what it is. That's right.
And it's just
Yeah.
like I don't.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
do art in the middle of the night. That's the
well, I
problem.
notice if I don't and I stay up like you did, and like I get really irritable, and it's not healthy for my family because I get angry easier, and I
Right,
don't know.
for sure.
It's
No,
not. It's
I
not
get
good.
it. No, I get it.
Not good. Not good.
I know. I have to change it because it's messing up my relationship with Kurt too. Because I'm sleeping, like we never see each other.
Right.
He's gone. I wake up. You know what I mean? But it's just my normal way of doing stuff is in the middle of the night. So I've always done it. So it's really hard for me to change that. But hopefully I'll be able to go to sleep tonight. We'll see. Yeah. Just Clay is weird.
I used to have like a really big problem with insomnia, and then ever since I started going to a chiropractor, I haven't had that problem anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think he
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. He like loosened something up and opened some pathways and something, and
that's good.
it like I don't have the insomnia as bad.
But you know what
I
happened?
still get it sometimes, but like it's not near as bad as I used to have it.
Yeah, it's not really insomnia. Well, I get like if I don't turn on the blue light filter, I get insomnia. But no, I've been doing that thing where I call in the nature spirits and then I go to sleep immediately.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I started doing that like 7 years ago, and then I forgot about it for a while, and some people here reminded me about it. It's based on the Findhorn the teachings from Findhorn, which,
Okay.
and then this lady, she took the teachings from Findhorn and created this, what is it, a garden in West Virginia. And she's the one who came up with the way to, that she particularly gets the calls in the nature spirits. And so we were all talking about her the other day. She came up and I went on her website. It was just so weird. And she got the jab, and we were all like, how could she have gotten the jab? We just don't understand, like, how she could have, like, because it's just so weird, you know. But it's because she's I don't know, she's got, I think, I don't know, it was really weird though. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
What
I
some of
just
these
don't
people like that are like really emotionally tied to some of the politics, and I think that might be why some of these people that you're like,
politics.
oh well, like, you know,
Yeah, because you
I'm a
support
loving
Trump if you
being,
don't get the
and like,
jab.
and like if I don't get the shot, then I'm actually causing harm to people because if I get the COVID, then I'll spread it or whatever. Because
Right.
I
So
don't.
yeah, so she's very leftist. Like, she had a big problem with Trump, and I was just like, I can't believe she's buying into this. I can't believe that the nature spirits are letting her go down this road. But I think what it says is they don't interfere with you. Like, they only will help you with what you know is wrong. Like, they are not going to interfere with what you don't ask for help with or whatever. So
Right, because nature is largely in bias, and so unless you call on it for help, it's not really gonna do
right.
anything. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
it's following. It's letting you have your free will, is what it's
yeah,
doing.
exactly.
And
It's
that's
so
what's great
crazy.
about it.
It's so crazy. But, to me, I was like, wow, I can't believe she fell for this. But the teachings are really great. The teachings are really great, because I had an experience with this where when I went out to Kurt's property in the beginning, when we first started seeing each other, I did a coning where I called in the nature spirits. And, we're talking the prairie, like, there's no flowers, there's no trees, it's just desolate, out there. And I call in the nature spirits and I said, I want to, work with you. If we end up living out here, I want to work with you. And a hummingbird came out of nowhere and flew into my face. And I was just like,
Awesome.
what? So weird. I was like, whoa.
You're
This is
like,
so
it
cool.
worked.
It totally worked. Yep. So, I mean, I basically have done stuff with that ever since. Like, that when that guy was looking for, he wanted to shoot the coyotes, I called everybody in and I said, get those coyotes out of here, or if when somebody wanted, this guy was renting Kurt's property to put cows on, and he wanted to shoot the prairie dogs because they were making holes that the cows could break their legs in or whatever.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I called in help from nature, and we got a badger. The badger, like, got rid of all the prairie dogs. It either scared them away to the other farmer's field or whatever. And
Right.
then Kurt was like, he was worried about the badger with his dog, so I did another one, and then the badger left. I mean, it's so cool. It's just like I told
Yeah.
you about the wasps. Like, you did the thing with the wasps in your basement, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I was
and
having
that's
a problem with them, and yeah, I did chuck their hive out into the creek, which probably wasn't very nice of me. But
well,
but then like there's still a bunch of them there trying to rebuild, and so I was like, I took your advice and I went into meditation and I called on the spirit of the wasps, and then they left.
exactly. Like, we have ants right now, and I told the ants, I'm like, you guys are gonna have to go because Kurt's not gonna want you around, and he's gonna make me kill you if you guys don't leave. and they're gone. They're pretty much gone. Like there's a few, but I'm like, you guys are going to have to go. I told them. I'm not
Right.
going to do anything about this right now, but I'm just letting you know this isn't a safe place, and I'm going to have to like wipe you up if you don't go. And they went.
Mhm.
They're going. I'm just like, yippee! It's just so cool. I mean, I just love it. Like it's like I just wish, it was more.
But the reason
prevalent.
it's working is because it's like for their own good too. You're like, you better leave or we're gonna like start killing you,
Yeah, exactly.
or
Yeah.
in my
I mean, I don't want
situation,
to, but
I basically told the wasps that's not a good place for them to live because, I forgot what the reason was, and that it was harming, that they could harm my family and stuff like that, and that they left. So
yeah, I mean, it's really,
because I actually got stung. Like I sat down on because they were coming up into our house.
oh
And like
shit.
some cracks or something, and then they'd go and try to fly out the window because they didn't remember how to get back to their hive or whatever through whatever crack they accidentally flew through or whatever, and so they were just dying on our windowsill. And I was like, one time, and some they die other places too. And I was just sitting down on the couch and my elbow landed on one and I got stung, and it was dead. I don't know if it was dead.
Oh, you got stung while it was dead?
I don't know if I was stung before it was dead or if it was died when I sat on it and, squished it, but as it stung me. But you can get stung by dead bees or wasps
Oh, I didn't know that.
if their stinger is out.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got stung by a bee last year because Kurt had a hive back in the backyard, but that hive didn't make it either. I mean, this is just a weird thing. Like he's pointing out to me that it's very difficult to find a good place for the bees to live. It's just really scary. Like, maybe the 5G or, the pesticides or whatever. It's just like really, really hard for the bees to find a place to live that's safe for them. Which it's just horrifying. I mean, I'm horrified by this, It's horrifying that people aren't more like, because I guess people just don't get it about, bees and pollinating,
Well, they're so distracted with materialism and, a lot of people are more worried about the fact that they might miss their sitcom that night than they are about whether the bees are going to live or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, geez.
Just sad.
It's a bad situation. I mean, I just can't believe it. I'm just like blown away, honestly. I'm like, wow, I mean, the bees thing has been going on ever since I found out about neonicotinoids, which is like in 2014, because I was working at Home Depot at that time. But it's just really, I can't believe that the neonicotinoids are still a problem. I'm like, I can't even believe that we didn't get rid of that they even made them to begin with.
Yeah.
It's horrifying. Weird. But yeah, I don't know. It's just such a fucking weird situation. We're in such a weird time right now. I'm like, such a weird time. I don't know.
We're a species that's having growing pains.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say you're right about that. Yep. It's weird.
I keep forgetting to paint my canvases a solid color before I start working on these things, and my paintings have been looking different than they used to because of that.
What do you mean? You used to paint them like red?
Like I used to paint the whole canvas red or something, and then I'd start painting everything in. And so always that red would kind of show through a little bit in certain areas, or whatever color I painted in the background would show through a little bit. Sometimes, not always, depending on how thick.
That's a good idea. I mean, you're the first person that I ever saw do that.
Which lately I haven't been doing that, and so sometimes the white comes through, and so maybe, I don't know, just my pieces have been looking lighter recently than they used to.
You're you're not showing your painting right now.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
There you go.
That happens. My stupid phone, it'll pop up a message like, your battery's getting low. And then for some reason that takes me out of the Zoom feed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How weird.
It'll be like, your battery's low. That doesn't mean you have to stop my camera from working on my Zoom. So the law of correspondence, the Apple iPhone 13 is not strong enough to overwrite that and do more than one task. Apparently, it's like, I'm showing you a message, so I can't show that corresponds to my operating system, so I have to stop doing everything else. Silly phones.
Is it bothering you to have 5G?
I don't know. I think it did maybe at first, but I think I just got used to it.
Okay, I'm just curious. Because last night we were out there, we did this weird exercise last night. It was so bizarre. Oh my God, it was such a bizarre thing. During the PMA class, we decided to do an exercise on consensus, and we ended up outside, and there was a giant fucking 5G tower right behind the place we've been. And I was like, oh my God. And I started feeling sick. And so I just was like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean,
Lightheaded.
I don't know if this is from that or not, but I noticed like if I put my phone in my pocket for a long period of time, my thigh starts to hurt a little bit.
What?
Like a mild pain. But that might not be from that at all. It might be just something else that's I have going on with that muscle, like dehydration or sitting on. My other theory is it's from sitting on this stool when I paint.
Yeah, the sitting thing is
but it's
like,
weird because it only hurts my left thigh, and I only put my phone in my left pocket.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't know.
Well, maybe it's
that's kind of why I was like, maybe the frequencies or something are causing that. But I got some Faraday fabric, so I just have been slacking off, and I was going to make a little like shape that you can put in your pocket first, and then when you put your phone in, it has like creates a barrier between you and the phone.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It makes like a barrier between you and the phone. And if you wrap your phone completely into Faraday fabric, you won't get any calls or messages. So if it's only one side to side against your body, then that'll help mitigate some of the 5G. But you'll still get your messages in because it's not fully blocking the signal.
Right.
And there's some companies, they make like these pendants that you can wear that are supposed to neutralize the signal and make it not as harmful.
Oh, what is that? I mean, do you think it's just a symbol or what?
No, like some of them like have like little, it's like technology.
Oh, really?
And some
are
of them
really
are
expensive?
Some of them are depends. I saw one, I can't remember what it's called, and it was like you could get it. It's like a pendant that you'd wear like on a necklace. It was about like $45, $50. And then I saw one that's like around 200, I think. But it does a bigger area. Or maybe that one was $60, and then they have this rectangle thing that you can put in your house that will mitigate all that for your whole house. And that one was the $200 one. I can't remember. But yeah, there's some companies making products that do that.
And do you think they're real or?
I don't know. I don't know enough about the whole. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole far enough to really know. People who have the products claim that, like, there's one lady who said she was having these chronic headaches, and then she got the thing, and like her headaches, she doesn't have them anymore. So I don't know if that's really accurate data.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. It's
But
annoying.
like, there's that stone too. I forget which one it is.
Shungite.
Yeah, shungite. Some of them are just shungite pendants that you just buy just a chunk of shungite and they carve it into a cool looking thing.
Right, but
And
you supposedly have to get a certain type of shungite. That's the latest thing I heard, was you have to get a certain type that's from some,
well, they're probably using that whatever certain type.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't know what to do about this stuff. I just don't know. Andy hasn't done anything about it yet, so he had an affiliate program with somebody who was doing something like a seminar about it, but I've already seen enough. I watched it on the Free Your Mind conference. They were talking about it, years ago.
Oh yeah.
And there was that guy, there was this couple that made a Faraday cage for their bed out of like aluminum screen.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already, I'm like, I'm not going to watch a whole bunch of these.
Right.
How am I going to know? And I'm not going to, I know I'm not going to do that because I can't, I'm not by myself. I have another person.
They're not making a thing. But the thing is like the one company, I have to relook up that stuff, but one company had one that like it told you how many feet it's mitigated the signal for, like the one was like, oh, this mitigates the signal for like 15 feet all around you if you have it on you. And then this other one, like that you get for your home, it'll do like 40 feet or something like that, circle around you. That device will mitigate.
Right.
So you can just set it in the middle of your house and it'll take care of your whole house.
I could see getting something like that if it was real, if it was going to work. I might do that right now because I have money from working.
Mm-hmm. But there's one that I trusted more because I found third party research that was, it was like a third party company that was researching whether the thing was working or not. And they said that like it was working. So I don't.
Yeah, that's where I have to look into it again. I mean, right now my phone, I'm just going to keep my phone and hopefully I won't have to change it. But I mean, eventually they're going to force everybody to change it. There was that, I know it's coming. I don't really know what we're going to do about that, but.
Yeah, it's like my provider basically forced me to change, but I had a lot older phone than you too. And some providers aren't doing that. Like, I almost jumped ship with my current provider for that reason, because I was talking to this other provider and they're like, oh yeah, we can put you on it. You're not going to lose any coverage or anything for being on an older phone that doesn't have 5G.
Right, because you still have 4G.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, they're like, yeah, it won't matter. But like, they were slightly more expensive, so I just stayed with the current company and got a new phone or whatever. But.
Yeah, I know. I was just curious. Yeah, I mean, I have a company that is a smaller company, so, but it uses the Verizon network. So they did force me to get the 7 because they said that I had a 6S and it said that I needed something that it didn't have. I can't
Hmm.
remember what it was. So I had to do that, but and this was Kurt's phone because he ended up getting an SE, and he gave
The
me.
new SE or the old SE?
Well, I mean, I don't know how new it was. I mean, it was about a couple, maybe a year. Whenever I got my phone, it must have been 2 years ago, maybe.
That's
I
about when
think it was new at the time.
well,
You
yeah, that
know?
was like, because they had two SEs. Like they had one that came out when the S6S came out. They came out with the SE, which was basically just the 6, just a smaller version in the same body as the 5 was in.
Uh-huh.
Which I had. That's the one I just had to get rid of and upgrade. Was
Oh, an
my
SE?
It was an old SE. But
Oh, wow.
they came out with a newer version of the SE like
Yeah, that's what he has, the newer
2
version.
years ago. Yeah. Which is essentially basically just the 7, I think. Just like a little bit fancier version of the 8.
It's probably the 8 because he gave
Yeah,
me
it's
the
the 8.
7.
It's basically the 8, but smaller than that if you just got the 8.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I don't think
Which
a lot.
I almost got that one too, but that was before, and then I just ended up going big and
Yep.
getting the latest one or whatever. Well, I know my wife, when he first upgraded, she had headaches for like 2 weeks, like straight, basically, but they finally went away. So that's why I was researching some of these things. So I was like, damn, if this is giving my wife headaches, maybe we should get one of these devices,
Well, and just because it's gone away, I wouldn't like to say it's all better now.
Oh, I know. It probably isn't, but I'm not really in the situation to spend that kind of money on stuff like that.
Well, yeah,
Even though
right.
maybe I should be. I shouldn't make that excuse,
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's up to your intuition. You know what you need to do for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think
I
we're
put
all
it on
different.
I think I put it on my wish list as something to like, maybe I'll ask for my birthday or something like that,
Right.
Sometimes stuff like that I save for like a birthday present kind of situation. There's also this crystal thing that I'm kind of interested, that was developed by it's called the Arc, and it was developed by Nassim Haramein. He's like this physicist that,
I know who he is.
yeah.
What did you do? What is it?
It's kind of like that Andes product, the one that like stick crystal thing that you stir in water, and
Oh, yeah, the Analema water one.
it's like a crystal thing that they made that you wear like a pendant around your neck, but you can also like pour water over it and do the same thing that Andes
Oh, really?
product does.
So it
Yeah.
has a few uses.
Yeah, it's the same thing as what Andy's product does, but like Nassim is like, if you wear it around your neck, then since your body's mostly water, then it's constantly restructuring your water in your body.
Oh, that's cool.
So it has like health benefits, and probably have higher energy levels, and all the things that come with that.
Yeah, I I didn't buy that thing because it's like if you drop it, it's gonna break. So I'm like, well, that's just a guarantee that I'm going to drop it. So
Yeah, something that you have to like physically pick up and put in a cup and stir with, it's going to get dropped.
I'm going to drop it. Knowing me, I'm just like, oh my God, no way. And then I'm going to be standing there after paying $179 and I'm going to be upset. So I'm like, nah. I mean, because it seems like I did get the Berkey filter and it seems like it restructures the water because it pours it through. I don't know. It seems great. The water is great now. I'm like, so, and I mean, I see how I was suffering from from using reverse osmosis without minerals for so long.
Which I might need to look into because I have reverse osmosis, but I don't know if we have the mineral that's going back in there. Some reverse osmosis things you can get, like a mineral filter it's the last thing that goes through, but we don't have that one, I don't think.
Yeah, see, this is what really irks the shit out of me is that we have fucked things up so bad that we have to distill our water and then put minerals back in. It's just like, oh my God, this is so ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Like the pollution and a
Nature.
big part of that is actually livestock. Because like they poop and stuff on the land and then that seeps down into the groundwater and it causes higher nitrate levels and stuff like that. And so eating meat actually corresponds to us having worse water.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. I'm not eating meat, right? I'm eating fish. That's it right now. No chicken. I don't like chicken's not really working anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do, honestly. Now that I
eat some meat, but like, yeah, I just not very often. Mostly, if I do, it's mostly fish too, but I guess there's mercury problems there can be mercury problems with eating too much fish.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're fucked, man. Totally. I get it. Fucked. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm just
another thing I heard that you can do is just like how your perception of what you put into your body helps too. Like if you're like, oh, I'm fucked, all the shit that I eat is unhealthy because of the chemicals and all that stuff, then it's gonna actually make it more unhealthy. But if
no, I bless my
like,
food.
oh, it's fine, it's totally healthy, then it's not gonna affect you as bad.
Well,
It still will because you're still gonna get certain toxicities, which are probably more of what's causing people to get sick than the so-called viruses.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I'm sure that's what's making people
I
sick.
watched Andy's thing on like one of his websites the other day. It was about, what is that protocol? This is the K. It's like a 4-step protocol, and it was supposed to be used to prove viruses. It goes through
I don't know.
These papers out of the Journal of Nature, where it's like I can't remember the protocol names, like Con or something like that protocol was reached. That's the headline of the paper. But then when you dig into the paper, it's like referencing these other studies. And then when you go to that actual study, you find out that paper is completely fraudulent and that they didn't actually complete that sequence.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a video. I think it's on the website. It's what is it called? Like the Great Virus Hoax or something. I can't remember, but it's one of Andy's.
COVID-19 myth.
No.
It must be some. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. He was in that movie, but it's not his movie. I know what you're talking about.
No. This wasn't the movie.
Paradox?
No, this was something different. This was just Andy. Like it looked like he was sitting in like his.
No, I don't know what it is then.
His some recording, and he had slides and stuff.
Oh, I don't know. I don't keep up with everything. I really don't. I mean, I'm a bad employee, honestly, because I don't really know all the things that they're doing. And I'm not, it's so, I mean, I've just like, I feel just saturated, you know, probably combination of autonomy and watching all of Pasio's work and everything. Like I'm done. There was something I watched yesterday, a couple of weeks. What was it? I watched something. Sometimes I do watch something occasionally, but it's occasionally, you know what I mean? It's got to be occasional. And I'm certainly not falling for there's like people are sending us shit, like telling us stuff that's terrible shit that's happening. And I'm like, nope, sorry. No, I'm not going to participate in that. You know, I'm not going to participate in thinking that this especially right now, the timing is total bullshit, but I'm just not going to buy into any. Oh my God, the sky is falling.
It's his website, thebigvirushoax.com.
Whose? Andy doesn't have that. It's not him. The big virus hoax.
There's a picture of him on the homepage, and it says Dr. Andrew Kaufman. Dr. Andrew is a medical doctor.
Really? The great virus hoax? All right, I'll check it out.
Molecular biologist who received his training and degree from Duke University, MIT,
really?
South
The great
Carolina,
virus hoax. I'll have to look into it.
And then it says, there's a video here. It says, there is no coronavirus. There is no COVID-19. And
I'll have to check it out. I have no idea what that is. Never heard of it.
Been removed.
Huh?
That video I was talking about is no longer there.
What? You just watched it?
No, it was a few days ago.
And it's already gone? Was it on YouTube?
Removed for violating YouTube terms.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Oh, wait, actually, no, that's a different one, but this one is still here. Doesn't have its title.
So it's on YouTube.
It's basically just called proof that there is no coronavirus.
Yeah, it won't be there for long. That's so sick, though. That just really freaks me out, too. That freaks me out.
So, anyways. That's called thebigvirushoax.com.
Oh, I've never heard of that. I wonder I'm going to have to check that out. The big virus hoax.
Maybe it's not him at all, and it's just one of his fans that made it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. All of his stuff is on Kajabi, except for COVID myths that I'm aware of. I mean, he has like a BitChute channel and, you know, a few of those, Rofkin and all that crap, the same thing that Autonomy has, but he doesn't have any that I know of, that I'm aware of. I mean, I just don't know. Maybe I just don't know. I don't know.
You don't know.
That's possible. It's very possible. I'm just the customer service. Although I started doing art, that was a weird thing. Like I needed more hours, and they said, "Do you know Photoshop?" And I'm like, "Yep, I do." And they're like, "Oh, can you make this border?" And they gave me, this is a kind of a funny story, actually. You probably know this stuff, but they gave me access to all this canned shit. I was so horrified, honestly. Just the illustration. What has happened to illustration? I mean, oh my God, it was so depressing. Like where you can just go to, you know what I'm talking about? You can go to these places and just, oh my God, it was so awful.
Yeah,
the
shit. It's like you don't even need to hire illustrators
anymore. Oh my God, it was so depressing.
There's so much clip art, and there's all these websites that are like
so ugly. I couldn't find anything I liked at all. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to draw it myself. So I'm in this meeting, bored listening to them, and I drew it myself. And then I came home, you know, took a picture of it, put it in Inkscape, made it into a vector, and over a couple days, I kind of figured out, and I showed it to them, and they liked it. I was like, cool. I did it I drew it because it was like so depressing looking at all this shit.
Yeah.
What?
I used to have a coworker who has got his degree in illustration, and he was always whining about that.
Oh yeah, I haven't.
I can't even be an illustrator because of these companies and this clip art.
Well, yeah, it's totally fucked up.
websites and stuff like that.
Well,
He's
I
like,
used to be an illustrator, Fuck. I mean, it was. I felt it made me sad. I was like, ugh, this is just horrible. This is what people use. I mean, this is just so.
yeah, it's just like cookie cutter, like
Oh, it's
art
so
that you can
gross.
drag and drop
But then
into
I was
whatever
thinking
thing you
about
need.
you. I thought about you and what you had said about some stuff. And I'm like, this is what is shaping people's view of the world is this shit art, this crap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was so depressing. I was like, oh my God.
Well, no,
I'm
I
like,
was researching like animation stuff, and there's like, because I was like, oh, maybe I can have an offering where I do, intro logo animations for people, right? But then I find this company online that you just upload your logo to them, and you can choose from like 50 different animations that
oh
it'll
no,
it'll nest
automatically animate it.
it'll nest into it and automatically animate it,
Oh, Jesus.
and the colors will even match your colors of your logo,
Oh,
the
dude.
color scheme of
Oh,
the
Jesus.
animation. And it's some computer generated thing where you just like you upload your logo into the whatever template you want it to be animated in, and it'll within a few minutes it'll render your logo animation
It's
for you.
so sad.
And I'm like, well, that's
There goes
at
that.
first I was really depressed and I was like sad. I was like, oh, no wonder it's so hard to get work doing this stuff that I want to do, because you can just go here and for $20 or $50 you can get your logo animated, or for free you can get it. Their free offers, you can have it animated, but then they're going to have a watermark on your video, that says this was created at such and such.com or whatever. And I'm like, but then I was like, you know what, maybe I should. But then I found out these companies, a lot of them have affiliate links that you can get. And so I was like, well, maybe if I come up with a free offer PDF, I can put these affiliate links to these companies in there, like, hey, you don't want to pay like me $1,000 to animate a logo for you, go here and you can get one for like $50, and if they go there and spend it, then I'll have that affiliate link and I'll get a commission off of that if they use that link to go and purchase their animated logo or whatever they're looking for.
Sounds horrifying.
It is horrifying. I hated it.
Dude,
I still don't like it.
Yeah, it sounds horrifying.
Even though I found out the loophole where I'm like, well, I could still leverage this by using the affiliate marketing
fuck
link.
that shit.
It's
just ghastly. I don't know. I mean,
I don't like it either.
I don't know what to say.
It's making it a lot harder to make money off of art. We'll just put it that way.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Like that's why I was like, holy shit, I can actually do some art for these people. That's great. I mean, I can make get a few hours. I just have to make 20 hours a week. That's what I got to work is 20 hours a week. So, if I can do a little art. I mean, and it's vectorized. It's just closer to the person who made it. You know what I mean? I made it.
Yeah.
So it's not them using the same fucking horrible same shit over and over, which they do. I mean, I'm sure that they do a good job. I know they do. They're good. They're good designers. So maybe they can figure out how to use it. But I was like, there is no way. It's too depressing. I'm not going to use this shit. Are you kidding me? Forget it. I just can't do it. I mean, I was like, no, I'd rather just not do any art at all.
Well, I look through those things and I'm like, no, I want mine to look unique. So I'll just draw it anyways too.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't even care. Like, I'm like, so what? I'm not going to ask them to pay me extra, a different amount or whatever.
Right.
This is just, I would be doing these drawings anyway, because I sit in those meetings and I draw. And then at the end, I'm like, well, here I have another doodle with nothing to do with it, so.
Right.
But yeah, it's fucking weird. It's just weird. I was just like, wow, this is a sad state of affairs to where this has gotten to. But it just made me feel like it was like, I was like, this is what he's talking about. It's like, if people could make their own art, they wouldn't need to use this shit. But this is
Oh.
the shit that is shaping people's point of view on everything. And it's just
Oh,
so
yeah.
fake. It's just so, canned.
Hmm.
So I just was like, wow, this is really.
Like, pop open this can and you can have the most beautiful graphic design ever.
Yeah, but it's not. It's just
Although-
people are just like settling for shit.
Well, yeah, they're like, oh, well, in 5 minutes I can have this. I can go and like, there's websites too where you can go like, and they'll be like, type in a couple things about your business, and our website will automatically generate a logo for you based off of all their clip art that gets combined. You're like, well, I'm a yoga studio with a, our twist is that we also do it's also a hair salon or something, and so then they like mash like a pair of scissors with a guy in in some yoga position, and it's like, there's your logo. And people are like, oh my god, that's so awesome, that only took a few minutes, not only had to pay $25. If I hired an artist to do this, they would have charged me like $100 or more.
Yeah, $700. I remember when logos used to be $3,500. Because I
Right?
mean, like, when I think about this lady, I did this logo for her in New York back in like 1980, whatever. She's still using that fucking logo right now. It's still on her website. She's still using it right now. So
Yeah.
that's why we charged like that much money, because it was going to be their brand identity for the rest of their life.
Well, I know this one of my art teachers did the logo for, I think it was the radio station KYGO here in Colorado. I don't know if it's still a station or not. But in his contract, he's like, you guys, this is what the uses you can use that we have agreed on for you to use this logo on. And then he started seeing people wearing T-shirts with it on there.
Oh, no.
And he tried to sue the radio station
no.
for using the logo
No.
in unagreed upon circumstances.
No,
And I can't remember if he won
but
or
it
what
was
happened.
owned by Clear Channel by that point, and that was that, because they're lawyers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like he basically just got screwed and he didn't win.
No, because I'm sure he didn't win.
No, he definitely
That would
didn't.
never work. That would never work.
That was part of his story, the fact that he didn't win,
Yeah, no, I don't see how you would
And
win.
he was like, you have to be really careful, when your contracts and stuff like that. And blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh, dude.
Yeah, no, just move on. Cut your losses and move on. That's it.
Yeah, I'm just like, you know what? I'm designing logos for people. And he did. That was back in the time when you would charge like $3,000 for a logo. And he did. He made like 3,500, I think, off that logo. And like, but then he got all butthurt when they started making T-shirts with it on it. Which is like, why wouldn't they? That's their logo. They're gonna put that thing on everything. Stickers, T-shirt, everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And no, it's like, well, maybe that's your fault for not
contracting. You remember the Graphic Artists Guild? Do you remember that? Do you remember the Graphic Artists Guild? Were you around for them? They're still around, but it's like,
yeah, I heard of them.
Yeah, that they were all trying to, make sure that illustrators got compensated correctly and everything, and it was a losing battle. I mean, it was a losing battle back then. There was work for hire, which was, when you would work, you would lose the copyright of your work. And so many people did it because they needed the work.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, oh well. Yep, that's just what we have to do because, we need the work. And now, I have an illustration degree from SVA. I mean, that's the whole point. That's what made me so horrified by the shit that I was seeing. I was just like, oh my God, this is what you guys are using. This is pathetic. But so I'm just going to save my little drawings that I made. And, I told them that everything's on a layer, blah, blah. You can use them if you want, blah, if you want to use this stuff, I'll just give it to you after they pay for it. I get my 20 hours doing some art for them, and they get some original artwork. But I really don't care because it's just going to sit in my sketchbook anyway,
Right.
you know. But it is pathetic. I mean, honestly, you know, my experience down on the downtown, that was a pretty interesting, actually. I mean, it was pretty horrifying. Partly it was horrifying because,
That Pearl Street deal.
yeah, because I mean, most of the people there are super rich, and that was pretty hard to watch, you know, them.
Right.
Because there was like this, it was like this whole scene, like there was all these people driving up and down the street, and they're like collectible automobiles and collectible motorcycles and stuff like that, showing off their wealth. There was that element, right? And then there was the other people there was like tons and tons of like 20 somethings with baby carriages. That was bizarre. And then there was some older people, older ladies or whatever. This one older lady asked me what I was doing, and I told her, and she's like, because I'm doing readings with my artwork, you know, she's like, oh my God, I don't want to know. And I'm just like, oh my God, you are probably, you're one of the people, you know, that's like, you know, I was just like, wow, how could you live like that? But with enough money, you can definitely live like that, you know? And so there was those people. And then there was a few people that did get a reading from me, which was kind of fun. But this one dude, it turned out the guy was like the head of the association for the block or whatever. And he's like a bigwig. And he got a reading from me, and I'm using my natural law deck, you know, and he pulls this card, the obstacle card, and he's like, he was horrified that it was true, that it was real, because he has like a growth or something, and he's getting it surgically removed. And I just somehow I knew too much about him, and it totally freaked him out.
Right.
He
Well,
was
that's what
freaked
that
out.
stuff does.
He was flipped out, man. I'm telling you, he did not like it. You could tell he did not like.
Well, because he's in that. It sounds like he's in left brain prison, and he doesn't understand that.
Yeah, he's in total left brain prison. But I ended up doing a sigil for him, you know, and I told him to, you know, what to do, and that he could start to change his thinking about that he is presently in optimal health, and he could do some work to help himself with that. But it was pretty weird, because you could tell. I mean, he did it as a parlor trick. He thought he was doing a parlor trick, and then lo and behold, somehow I knew. Well, it was pretty weird, man. I'm telling you, it was pretty fucking weird.
Sounds like it.
It was weird for sure. I was like, well, I'm going to do this every month now for the next, you know.
I just realized I don't have any lights on in here.
Oh shit. And the sun's going down. They're hiring at that school too, by the way. I don't know if you care about this. I don't know if you want to. They're hiring at that school across from your mom's.
Oh, yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
they're at that place. They're looking for somebody who's like a life coach kind of person to help the kids, guide them.
Yeah, well,
but you don't have to have a license or anything.
I don't know if that's me, but I could probably do it. But
I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, it
couldn't hurt to look. I mean, I could look into it, and you know,
I think it would be a great job. I actually applied for it myself.
I have to have job search activities, anyways. For
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So I mean, I just thought it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool because it'd be fun to help the kids at that age, teenage kids.
They called us Excel or something like that. Academy.
Aspire Academy.
Yeah, it's Aspire Academy. Yeah, right. I'll look them up and go on their website. Maybe I can apply to, you know, fulfill my.
Yeah, you can for sure.
Requirements.
Well, this is interesting. Wow, you like how meticulous you are going with that in 3 hours. Holy crap, dude.
It's just I made the thing too small, so I have to paint slow. When I paint small, you have to kind of go slow, just because you can't. Otherwise, it'll get too. I don't know. Maybe it's slow to paint big too. It just seems faster because you're doing bigger brush strokes with bigger brushes.
Yeah, it's amazing. No, I think it's because it's so small. You have to use that nostril hair brush too, right?
It's part of my sign of Virgo. Virgos are really can be very good at meticulous stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe it's not necessarily the sign. It's actually the well, it has to do with astrology for sure. 'Cause I don't know. We were in Hawaii at this. We were staying at this like house or whatever with my family years ago. My sister was, I think it was for my sister's graduation from college. It was like probably 12 years ago or more. And like they and in the house we were staying, they had a book, and it was like about birthdays, and it was talking about your birthday, and it had other like people that had your same birthday and stuff like that. And it talked about like traits of people that are born on that date.
Uh-huh.
And like the guy, you know, that it's that famous triangular building, what's that called in New York City? Something iron, is the wrought iron building? I can't remember what it is.
I don't know. This is
It's kind of
after my
like
time.
from an aerial view, it's like a triangular building. But
All right.
apparently I was born on the same day as that guy that designed that building.
Oh, wow.
Architect that designed that building.
Oh.
And then I think Jesse James had the same birthday as me.
Oh, wow. Jesse James.
But then that like had like a article about people who are born on that day, and it talked about how they're really good at like that they are good at designing stuff. They tend to be architects and designers or artists, and they talk about how they can something that's like really confusing and complex. They're really good at like breaking it down and like and being able to like if there's like a really daunting task, they're really good at breaking it down and solving that task or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was like, well, maybe that's why I got into animation, because animation can get confusing as shit when you start getting like 20-30 drawings or like more, and like you drop them and you have to put them back in order if you don't have them numbered or
Wow, that's probably
and
true.
just like the choreography and the compositing of like if you have like a scene, well, you have the background, and then you might have 5 or 6 characters, and you have to animate each one of those characters independently, but then when they get composited into the finished animation, it looks like they're interacting with each other and stuff.
Right.
And like it can be really complex, to figure out how to make that work. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be, but it is. This is pretty, that's kind of interesting.
No, I'm sure that makes perfect sense. That should. I have 2 siblings who are both Virgos, so I know.
It kind of talks about, it's probably part of that, when you were asking me like my birth date and time and all that stuff, it's like,
yeah,
this book is going into all that stuff and like really like dissecting that astrology and predicting how, what talents people are going to have based off when they're born and stuff.
Uh-huh. No,
and that's correspondence.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. because it's the
Oh, as
obviously
above, so below. Yeah, exactly. You're right.
obviously these things are repeating in multiple humans that are born on that same day, you know,
Oh, yeah. It's
like
also
these
as above, so.
traits and skill sets are repeating in people that are born on certain days. You
Right,
know, like
that's true.
people that are born the same day as you are going to have similar, you know, it's not always exactly the same, but there's going to be a lot of similarities.
Right. Well, it depends on the other planets too, but that's definitely as
Well,
above,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
below. That's definitely
For
as
sure.
above, so below, because that's the
Yeah.
heavens reflected in the earth too.
And I was thinking, I just was thinking about this. I just remembered that I was going to bring this up. Is a few minutes ago I was painting these stars and stuff in here as the planets and everything, and for my cosmology depiction in this version of the quadrivium that I have at the bottom, which is like the classical version. And in that, the cosmology, I just wanted to bring up that the Hermetic principles that we're talking about for these next several weeks are cosmology. Natural law is cosmology, because cosmology is the study of the universe and how it operates. You know, and that can include astrology, you know, the movements of the celestial objects within the macrocosm and the microcosm. You know, you look at our solar system, and then that is also a depiction of how an atom might look too, you know. So you see that repeated pattern in the macrocosm and microcosm. And yeah, so I just, since I'm working on this painting that has the quadrivium depicted in it, I thought it would be good to bring up that the Hermetic principles are really, they're in all four aspects of the quadrivium. You know, each principle probably deals with more aspects within like music. You know, you're definitely dealing with rhythm and vibration, and music are probably the heaviest of the principles. And then mathematics, you know, you have it's kind of like the polarity. There's a lot of, you know, adding and subtracting is kind of like going from the different polarities. And art, you know, but like, you know, as far as like the whole axiom of all the Hermetic principles together, it's like that's really probably really digging into cosmology pretty deep.
Right. That's cool.
So I'm working on my water now, and it's going to be this big wave, and up here, and I was like, I remembered that sometimes you have yellow skies, and so I was like, I'm going to do a yellow sky for my background here, because the water is going to be blue, so it would look weird to have the blue on blue. Too much blue on blue going on. And it'll help contrast that water with the sky too, because there's not that much of the sky. It's mostly this wave thing. I'm painting here. Do some dark stripes. Looks like we're coming in to the close to 8 o'clock here. So we can start wrapping things up here in a few minutes.
Yep, I basically finished this piece for now, as much
Oh,
as I can
nice.
do.
Let's check it out.
Can you see it?
I can see it. Do you want to hold it up a little bit closer? Or is it,
Oh,
can it
it's
not?
just,
If it can't be held up, that's fine. Oh, well, that's cool. That's looking
But
really good.
I gotta let it dry and then see, because there's still some big mistakes on there that I have to fix, but I'm not sure if
Okay.
I will fix them or not. We'll see.
Mhm.
I might have to do the thistle over again. I'm really not digging it, honestly.
Hmm.
That's the only one I did with the idea. See,
Oh,
I don't usually
with an
work with an
idea.
idea. Yep, I had an
Yeah.
idea and I don't like how it worked out, so I might have to start over.
Ah,
Yeah, it's weird. Like I don't usually use ideas anymore.
yeah, you just kind of just start going.
Yeah, I just do
It's
do
kind
it.
of intuitively
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Like you just start doing the art and it just kind of unfolds
Yep.
itself.
Yep. And this is the only one that I started with an idea, and it's just not.
Well, don't you have an idea though? Because they're all the
Yeah, that
right.
idea, yeah, they all have the central sigil with the flower of life and everything, but that's as far as it goes, and then they just kind of evolve or whatever. But
Uh-huh.
this was what I was like, oh, this could be a thistle, and I could, and it just looks like crap to me right now. I don't know.
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
So I might just start over. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Well, you like that the thistle with the 3 stages of.
Yeah, but I just don't like how it looks, like at all.
Do you
So
have it there? Or?
oh yeah, I have it here. Yeah, I showed it to you in the beginning.
Yeah, let's look at it again. When you took some of the stuff off of it, right?
Yeah, I took all the little points off. It's totally warped, which is fine, but I put wire in as the prickers.
What do
But
you
I
not
just
like about it?
I don't know. I just don't like how it looks. Like I just don't. First of all, I fucked up because I thought I wasn't really paying attention. And this should not be like this. This part is supposed to be a leaf, and I made it like another.
Oh,
I think
another
it's going
thistle.
in the trash. This one's going in the trash, and I'm gonna have to start over, honestly. I'm just telling you, like right now,
Okay.
I'm not
Not digging it.
I'm not digging it. I mean, I could maybe I don't know what to do with it. I think I could maybe salvage the part with the drawing on it, but I don't know how I would get that off of there. I'd have to saw it practically.
Oh yeah.
Saw it
Uh-huh.
off. I don't know. And then just use that as the artwork and not
Mhm.
put the rest of the thistle in. I might just have to start over. I don't know. But that's the only one. See, that's the only one that I had an idea when I for it different from the other ones, and it's not working.
Yeah, that. Now that you mention it, that thing that's supposed to be a leaf does look kind of weird. I wasn't really sure what that was when you mentioned it. The other thing that I noticed was just like I don't know if those are the stems that are kind of sculpted in there. It looks
Yeah,
just like a little bit.
they're not done yet. They've just started.
Oh, okay. They look just like a little, I don't know,
Yeah, they're just started. I was gonna
stem
have
like, on stem like, I
well,
don't
right
know.
there. Well, they're just supposed to be. They were just gonna. They have a lot of work left where I would have to put more wires in for the pricker part.
Right. And that's probably what I'm seeing that's bothering me.
Yeah, no, but I just don't feel like it's not doing it for me. So I don't know. That's a drag, but oh well. That means I
But
have two
sometimes
more.
that happens with art. You like do it and then it doesn't work out. And you just do a new one.
Yeah, I know. I usually don't though. That's the thing. I usually don't. It usually doesn't happen like that. So, but I'm just kind of like, this is not. I don't know. But I'll wait. I'll wait and look
It's
at it
rare
some
for
more.
that to happen to me too, but it does happen.
Oh, it's after 8.
Yeah, I just clicked after April. We were talking, so I didn't want to interrupt our conversation there until we were
Yep.
finished.
Yep.
But yeah, I know you're tired, so we can sign off. Next week, what's the next? Let's see here. Let me just check the next principle.
Polarity. Is it polarity?
Probably. Let's see what I got here. I don't remember where I am on my computer. Where is all my stuff? Correspondence. Well, in our book, vibration comes next.
Oh, cool. Vibration. Okay, good.
And then it goes to polarity. So we'll stick with that. And yeah, so next week we're talking about vibration. One of the 7 laws, natural laws from the Hermetic teachings. Talk to you then. This is Drawing
Hasta la
Matron
vista.
signing out.
Signing out. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Bye.